Hi, my name is Ainsley, and today I'm going to be talking about Scottie Scheffler and analyzing his personality. Um, so, to start off with just a brief overview on who he is, Scottie Scheffler is a professional golfer. He's currently the world number one on the PGA Tour and has had a really successful season. So, I decided to kind of do my presentation about him and learn a little bit more about what makes him so great and so successful. But just going to start off with, Scottie was born on June 21st, 1996 in Ridgewood, New Jersey, to his parents, Scott and Diane Scheffler, and he has three older sisters. They lived in New Jersey until he was six, and then they moved to Dallas after 9/11. Um, they wanted to get like a little bit of a fresh start. He had kind of a non-traditional upbringing as his dad was actually a stay-at-home dad and his mom was a high-powered attorney in New York and then when they moved in Dallas. Um, but despite the break from tradition from both of his parents, they both focused on providing a warm and stable family environment for all four of their children, and the entire family kind of fostered this love and growth. He started playing golf at the age of six. And that's when he started taking lessons specifically. He took an instant liking to it and just kind of truly fell in love with the sport. Um, Growing up, he also played other sports such as baseball, lacrosse, basketball, and he's been known even today to go to the local gym and shoot some hoops with the guys. When Scotty began playing in golf tournaments, in junior tournaments, he had success right away with one of his leagues, the like Junior Texas PGA. He won 90 of 136 events during his amateur years, and he also played in AJGA tournaments and played for his high school. Uh, when he went to the state championship with his team, he led his team to really successful years and actually had three individual state championships. Outside of his high school team, he also completed in AJGA tournaments and in 2013 won the U.S. Junior Amateur Tournament, which is the biggest tournament that a junior golfer can play in. It's a really big deal. Other notable people to have won this are, like guys like Tiger Woods. So it was a really big deal. And then in 2014, he actually played in his first professional golf tournament on the PGA Tour, which was the HP Byron Nelson Championship. In this, he placed for 22nd, tied for 22nd place, and he actually had a hole in one during the tournament, which was really cool for him. Uh, all throughout school, he worked hard to maintain a good GPA, and he was known for his good grades and sportsmanship, along with his athletic capabilities, which like gained him a lot of attention from universities. He ended up being recruited by the University of Texas, which is where he decided to play, and he had an impressive collegiate golf career there as well, leading his team to many victories and several really good years. He played he placed really well. He was one of the top collegiate players during his time in college. And when he finished, he earned his bachelor's degree in finance in 2018. After this, he quickly moved on to the PGA Tour and just started um, racking up the scoreboard. So, his professional career has been one for the record books. In his 130 events, he has 13 wins, 9 runner-ups, 10 third place finishes, and has earned over $71 million during his entire career. Um, His most notable year was this year in 2024, where he won seven events, including the Tour Championship, the Master Tournament, the Players Championship, and he won gold at the Summer Olympics. So those were like four of the biggest tournaments this year, and he won all of them. The only major tournament that he didn't win this year was the PGA Championship, which he had some weird things going on, and it just wasn't his best week, but it happens to the best of us. Um, he also rose to the world golf rank of number one and has stayed there for a total of 116 weeks this year, which rivals players such as Greg Norman, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods. His rise to dominance kind of made a lot of people question what makes this guy so great. And whenever he was asked about this after the Masters tournament, he explained that he was sees his talent as a gift given to him by God, and he just wants to use that to ele his gifts to elevate God in turn, and provide something good to his community. He also later on went on to say that his identity is secure whether he wins or not. So at the end of the day, he can just go out and play the sport that he loves and enjoy it, and then go back home and he's just Scottie. He's well grounded by his family and his friends and has a strong community behind him. He's also had some considerable individual success in recent years. In 2020, he married his wife Meredith, and earlier this year, they welcomed their son Bennett. When we're looking at the different approaches, the first approach to look at is the trait approach. I specifically, as I decided to break this down to the big five personality traits, it was pretty easy to determine that he's high in conscientiousness, agreeableness, and openness, especially when looking at um, his consistency and his ability to manage his grades on top of being a good golfer. That's going to come through with the conscientiousness. He's really well liked by people, gets along well with everyone, and just has generally like positive traits. So that goes into agreeableness. And he's a very open-minded individual. He's always looking for new challenges and displays a lot of empathy. So that feeds into the openness. Um, it's hard to determine on extroversion if he's an introvert or an extrovert. To me, he appears introverted, but that could also just be a little bit of bias because I think he and I are kind of similar golfers. Um, and then um, as far as neuroticism, he doesn't display very many signs of neuroticism. Um, tends to be flexible in his thinking and has control over his emotions. With the biological approach, looking at those same big five, it's pretty easy to assume that he inherited some of this from his parents, especially with his parents' uh, personal drives and professional drives. His sisters also display a lot of the same traits, so um, it's very understandable that they all would have kind of inherited these from his parents. With Freud's psychoanalytic approach, which emphasizes the unconscious process of the mind. It's kind of unlikely that he has any underlying sources of trauma, maybe other than living in New Jersey when 9/11 occurred. But it seems that he kind of successfully reached Freud's genital stage of psychological development, which indicates that he's focusing on creating and enhancing his own life. In the other vein of that, with the neo-Freudian approach, looking at Eric Erikson and his psychosocial stages, he would fit well within the stage of generativity versus stagnation, and that he would achieve generativity. This indicates that he constantly is working to contribute to society and to be a part of a family. This is kind of shown by his consistent work with various nonprofits and his commitment to his own growing family. I think a lot of his personality kind of shows up with the humanistic approach. It's at least how I think maybe he sees the world. Um, but with this approach, we see his focus on mindfulness, on positivity, and just like on a holistic approach to life. And again, going back to that interview he talked about where he's just focusing on um, enjoying his time and enjoying the sports that he loves and the people he's being around. As far as the behavioral approach, his motivation for his behaviors is often driven by his personal desires to be the best version of himself and to lift others up. And because of this, he would most likely probably not respond that much to outside stimuli, unless they were related directly to improving his interpersonal relationships. I think a lot of his motivation is internal versus external. And then as for the cognitive approach, focusing on like cognitive processes, perception, memory, and thought. Scottie's very well known to put a great significance on the ideas of mental toughness and strategic thinking in his personal life. But especially on the golf course, it's one of the things that makes him a great golfer. When he's coming down the stretch, that last little bit of the tournament when the tournament's on the line, he's well known for being calm and even under pressure, and he does this through mental toughness and strategic thinking and just putting like a good step forward and choosing to think positive thoughts. But overall, he is a well-rounded man who embraces life to the fullest and works hard for the things he loves. And this has profoundly impacted his personality and worldview, and is what I believe has led to his greatness, his great success on and off the golf course. But thank you for watching.